All of you are safe here. So today we'll be starting with the last module related to your product design and product lifecycle manufacturing. Okay. So the last module related to our product lifecycle management deals with the subject product building and structures. Okay, so we have studied the entire life cycle, various characteristics, protocols, what we have to follow, everything. So the last module is about how to build the product and the structures virtually by using the concept of our product life cycle management. So building the product, again, it takes place with respect to the concepts of building the product with respect to the virtual environment, how we do build the project and the structures, because virtual environment will help us to get an exact, accurate and precise way of product with reduced time. Also it helps in overcoming and providing the optimized way to design the product. After successfully it is virtually product manufactured, then you will go for the actual manufacturing of the product. It is nothing but replacing the product prototype into an virtual type of prototype. After achieving this only you will go for a long scale production. Please mute your mic. Those who haven't unmuted, please mute it. So related to the product building and structures, please mute your mics, please, it is disturbing. So related to our product building and structures, you have to study exactly what do you mean by virtual product development. So virtual reality, virtual manufacturing plays a vital role in developing our product. So we have dealt with respect to product development, existing product development, modifying the existing product development, and how you develop a new product, and how you integrate the innovative ideas into the new product or into the existing product. So all the available type of product orientations we have dealt up. So only the left out part is to how to develop a product virtually. Virtually in the sense it will not be in reality, but it is just an creation, an imaginary creation of a product, how it looks like, which is able to perform all its functional characteristics, so that you can cross check it to see it is operating perfectly, precisely, and even we can optimize and fine tune the requirements before it goes for actual manufacturing. And hence virtual product development plays an vital role. Okay, so you can define it as a new kind of manufacturing technology. It is not only based on virtual reality, or it is not only based on simulation. There is an integration between simulation technology and virtual reality technology. These two have to be embedded with our information technology, or else it won't be able to get the required concept. Okay, so it is nothing but the integration of simulation, virtual reality and information technology. So virtual reality is always associated with our virtual manufacturing system. So what do you mean by virtual manufacturing system? So it is a manufacturing concept which is developed within a computer. So you are manufacturing a virtual prototype within the computer, and you will see whether it is functioning properly or not. So it can generate the same information about how the product structure should be, how its state and behavior have to be, and how it looks in real-time application. Everything can be verified virtually within the computer, and as a result virtual manufacturing is used as an interactive simulation of various manufacturing process. It does not involve only one, it involves various manufacturing process such as virtual prototyping, virtual machining, virtual inspecting, virtual assembling, and virtual operation. So you have integration among various factors. Before manufacturing, first you will do the prototype. In actual, you used to do the miniature, the prototype and check, and then go for actual manufacturing, right? So instead of going for actual prototype, even that is time consuming and it requires cost also. And as a result, you can do the virtual prototyping directly, and you can do various machining operations also virtually, and you can inspect virtually whether it's operating properly or not, and all the parts which are being manufactured could be assembled virtually also, and then it will check the operation of the entire product, how it operates. So it is an integration around 4 to 5 sectors related to our virtual manufacturing process. So now you have to understand the difference between the actual manufacturing and virtual prototype development. So you can see two pictures over here. So the first one at the right corner is related to how we manufacture physically with the intervention of human beings. So you will be adapting the resources, so you will manufacture the product and then it will be thrown into the market. This is how it happens actually. But in case of virtual thing, what you do is the image, the processing of the entire thing will be fed to the computer. It will be controlled and modified. So you will be doing it, so you will be planning what is been needed and you will change which are the things needed, and you will control it everything with respect to the data embedded in the computer system. So where you have an integration between simulation, virtual reality and integrated information system. So this helps in overall performing the operation very accurately, precisely, and optimizing the design layouts, all and operations and inspection also. So you will get an real-time virtual operation of that product, and you can see that it is running successfully. Then only you can go for manufacturing on real-time product in hand. Okay. So hence based on this you can define virtual manufacturing is nothing but manufacturing in a computer. So how does it feel like? So when you do an virtual manufacturing, it is only manufacturing of the imaginary objects. It is not the actual object what you are manufacturing. Where you manufacture this, you will manufacture this imaginary object in an virtual environment. It is not a real-time environment. It is a virtual environment which will be created. Within that virtual environment, the imaginary objects will be developed, and these imaginary objects will be then inspected. Then all these imaginary objects will be assembled virtually and it will be tested virtually for its operation. So entire thing operates in an artificial environment, what we call it as an virtual environment, where no actual object will be tested. All virtual objects as per the specifications and the functional requirement will be tested. So it is an integrated approach where you include synthetic manufacturing environment to enhance the level of decision and control each and every stage of product development. So you can see how a virtual manufacturing environment looks like. So this will be the actual factory and this will be the optimized process control. So in between you will be having a virtual environment or virtual factory. So it will be having different sectors. So the first one is the environment, the second is exercising, third is enhancing, fourth is levels which are associated, and finally the decision. So what happens in case of virtual environment? It supports the construction, it provides various tools required. So many tools are there which are being used in virtual environment. I will explain all those in one by one. So where virtual models are also there. so equipments which are needed to develop these objects, and methodology which are followed, and what are organizational principles, everything will be embedded in the virtual environment where you will be having the virtual factory. So next is exercising. How do you perform these? So constructing and executing specific manufacturing simulations using environment which can be composed of real and simulated object activities and process. So what do you mean? The exact exercising part. So the virtual factory which helps in developing the virtual objects. So these objects will be developed with respect to the virtual models, and it will be analyzed. Modeling will be done and it will be analyzed. After modeling is done, after analyzing of the models are done, it will be exercised by going to different simulation softwares. So it will predict exactly how it can operate in a real-time environment. So this is called as exercising part. Once the exercising part is done, if the performance is not up to the mark or 75% okay, so then it will be shifted to the enhanced sector, so where optimization of the synthesis route will be followed. So every object will be manufactured based on its own methodology. So every methodology will be having a different synthesis route. So it will cross check whether the synthesis route, whether the methodology followed is proper, or any optimization, any fine tune in the methodology with respect to various input parameters or material parameters is needed. Everything will be cross checked. If any heat treatment is needed, even the temperature optimization will be taken care, so that you will get an optimized design with the optimized product which could be developed. So based on the optimization, finally the decision will be taken in the control division. So whether it is an acceptable real-time product or not. Yes, then it will go for actual production process, or else the modification, everything will be done. So that interaction for any change will be done in case of knowledge capitalization. So this is how it works. So it gets all the data related to virtual manufacturing of the product from the factory. So here you will be having a human interface. From the factory to that of virtual factory, you will be having a human interface. Again, from virtual factory to the optimized process control decision, here you will be having a human intervention. So this is totally an imaginary thing where it will be manufactured, simulated, tested, and decision will also be taken care. So there you will, here you will be having four different sectors what I told you: environment, exercising, enhancement, and decision taking. And to operate this you have different levels which results right from the disposal of the equipment from the factory to that of the material selection, modeling, testing, all things. So all these will be transferred in our knowledge capitalization. So this is about the entire virtual manufacturing environment. How does it look like? So what is the main vision of an virtual manufacturing? You can just see. I told you already, it is manufacturing of a product virtually within a computer. In actual, you take the resource, you will do the real-time manufacturing, you will get the production, you throw that into the market. But it is not like that. It will just take the image processing what is being needed as per the planning and scheduling from the organization, so that will be embedded to the computer. So virtual manufacturing takes place, and before that the virtual prototype will be done based on the planning, based on the what change you need, and based on the constraints, and this prototype product will be manufactured virtually in the computer. Okay, so then later that will be modified and controlled and given back to the industry or the company. So this is the difference between the real-time manufacturing and the virtual manufacturing. So then you should know what is the importance of virtual manufacturing. So it helps in development of the models models are very essential for creating virtual objects, and then those models developed has to be simulated. Once simulation, you will check whether it is up to the mark. If not, optimization of the entire process is necessary. Once the process is entirely optimized, the virtual prototype of the product which has to be manufactured will be generated, and then the calculation of required parameters will be done. Once all these are satisfied, the product will be manufactured virtually, it will be tested virtually, it will be inspected virtually for all the operations what it has to carry out as per the need of functional requirements. Okay, so hence this all things are necessary or the important criteria, because if any change is needed you can do it virtually without expenditure of materials, without investment. So the cost will be saved, material will be saved, and also you can optimize, fine tune, so that you will be having 100% confirmation that the product what you are manufacturing out will be a good product with optimized way, so that you will get an accurate and precise product with all the functional requirements which will satisfy to the customer, so there will be no need for making the changes again. And hence virtual manufacturing is of very important in today's growing world before the product comes into the market. And hence these are the needs for virtual manufacturing or virtual product development. If they ask you virtual manufacturing or virtual product development, both are one and the same. So then you have to know what are the characteristics of virtual product development or virtual manufacturing. So virtual manufacturing deals with the information and data of the product and manufacturing system. So these data and the information of product manufacturing system will be taken from the organization, or because all the data related to has to be given from the manufacturing unit what they want to manufacture exactly. So it helps in grabbing the data needed. So this is one of the characteristics. And next is virtual manufacturing is not true manufacturing. I told you already, it is just creation of a virtual manufacturing within the computer. So but in manufacturing of computer and network system related software. So what you have to understand is it helps in grabbing the required data for production. So it is a virtual manufacturing which is created within the computer, and then virtual manufacturing process results are digital products rather than an real material products. So these are the outputs of a digital products which are created imaginarily, and hence it cannot be a real time material product. And finally, virtual manufacturing is a dispersed system. So it will just disperse the data, the result with respect to the digital product. And as you can say that it helps you in dispersing the output in the digital way, so that you can evaluate whether it could be accepted or not. So these are the characteristics of virtual manufacturing. So based on the characteristics, next you should be knowing how to classify our virtual manufacturing. So we have different sectors. It is not only the manufacturing, right from material, design, prototype, simulation, or part manufacturing, and then assembling. So various sectors you have related to what you are doing in virtual manufacturing. So based on that you can classify depending upon the type of the products and process design. So you have one type of classification. Second is classification based on type of system integration. I told you virtual reality takes place with the integration of more than one sector, and hence the type of integration you are following, based on that you have different types. And again, classification based on functional usage. All products what you manufacture are not related to a particular functional usage, it is for different functional usage. So you have classification of this product development process based on the functional usage, based on type of systems you are integrating, and based on the type of products you are manufacturing and which process of design you are following. So based on that also there will be classifications. So based on the type of product process design, the first one, you have different sectors again. So one is production oriented virtual manufacturing. So this will focus only on production of the parts which are being needed, and hence it is called production oriented virtual manufacturing. And the second sector varies only in controlling the various constraints, the input parameters, so that you have to get the required output parameters. So all this control orientation will be done in a different sector of virtual manufacturing. And the third one will only focus on optimizing the design so that you get a better conceptual and embodiment design before you draft the real-time design concept. And hence you have a different sector in virtual manufacturing which is oriented only for design. So this is how you will develop the product. Virtual product development has three sectors: production, control oriented, and design oriented. And I told the next one is classification based on type of system integration, how the systems are integrated. So based on that you have again different classification. Real physical system, if you are having the integration with respect to real physical system, or it is only related to information system, you have different. If it is related to virtual physical system, it is different. If it is related to virtual information system, it is again different. Usually we follow real physical system and real information system, but if you are embedding that also virtually without human intervention, then we have to go for the sectors virtual physical system, where every database will be virtually embedded already, and even the virtual information system also will be grabbed in. And last classification is based on functional usage. So depending upon which type of functional usage you have, whether you have to get only the prototype of the product, you will go for virtual prototyping. Whether you want to machine the design of the part which is being given, then you go for virtual machining. And after virtual, when you have the virtual part in hand, if you want to inspect the part which is being manufactured virtually, then you will go for virtual inspection. And the inspected parts, if you want to check whether they fit properly in the assembly section virtually, then you have to go for the sector virtual assembly. And then if you want to check the operation of the product which has been assembled together, then you have to go for virtual operation control. So these are the different classifications based on the functional usage which are in need. So you can see that virtual reality plays a vital role in developing the product. So I have explained you all the classifications, the characteristics. So this is like where you use the virtual reality. So it could be used desktop based, it could be used avatar based, it could be used projector based, or it could be used simulation based. So you will be using the concept of virtual reality with respect to some simulation softwares, or else you might be using the projector based, or you might be using the avatar based, or you might be using the desktop based. So what do you understand from this? In avatar based, user create a graphic representation of self and are able to manipulate the avatars in a virtual environment. It is just creating the exact image or the clone of a human being. How does they look like? So they capture the image of a person whom they have to see virtually. So based on that, it will be visible. So you can see a person who is staying away in a remote area could be seen in front of you in an artificial image. So that is avatar based. Desktop based, so here users are able to see the virtual environment through their desktop computer. Using the desktop computer, you can see the virtual environment what you want to see. Suppose if you want to see your friend's room where he is sitting, so you will just see the entire virtual environment of your friend image along with that of his room where he is sitting. in your desktop. So this is an example. Simulation based. So what happens in simulation based? So the part which is being manufactured could be tested by using simulation software. So that will be integrated to our desktop, and that you can see it, how it has been simulated. So your user experiences the exact impression like how the given part or the product will perform its task by seeing the simulation environment. And lastly, the projector based. So what you want to visualize will be projected out in a projector. So your user needs a projector or a camera to display the virtual world. Here he is not displaying the virtual world in the front of the desktop or in the simulation software or in avatar based. He needs an projector or a camera to see the virtual world. So these are the four types of outputs in which you can see an product virtually. Okay, so this is about virtual reality technology, what we usually follow. For all our new product developments, we usually follow the interface of the desktop and the simulation software. So now you know the entire concept of are virtual manufacturing, what are its importance in product development. So based on this, you should be now understanding what is the scope of virtual manufacturing or what is the scope of virtual product development. So there are three sectors. One is design oriented, one is production oriented, one is control oriented. I have told all these three already to you all, right? So what does design centered virtual manufacturing does? It provides information to the designer during the design phase. So it uses the manufacturing based simulations to optimize the design. So this design center helps the designer to optimize the design to get an best compatible design so that it could be manufactured into the product successfully and it meets the goal of the manufacturer. Next is production centered. So it helps in optimizing all the production related processes. Means it speaks about the manufacturing process. Manufacturing process starting from a part to the entire product what it is needed. So entire thing will be optimized in production centered. And in control centered, you will be providing an optimized confirmed decision and it will be having good control among various constraints of the input parameters so that you get the required output. So all these things will be controlled in a systematical way in case of control centered virtual manufacturing. So these three structures plays a vital role in getting a good virtual product developed into a real-time application. So these are the scope which are in need for virtual product development or virtual manufacturing. So to perform all these, you need to use various virtual manufacturing tools. Without using virtual manufacturing tools, it is difficult for you to get the virtual product developed. So you have to know what are these virtual product tools. Just a second. Write your names also in your chat room. I'll be taking the attendance of the screenshot in random, I told you. So I'm doing that. So these are the various tools and the methodologies what we follow. So the first one is manufacturing characterization. Okay, second one is modeling and representation technologies. So, what are the manufacturing characterizations which are needed? Because the products which are manufactured has to be tested structurally, functionally. Functional characterizations are required. Structural characterizations, material characterizations are required. So all these will be considered. Next is modeling and representation technologies. The model, the mathematical modeling equations, what you generate to represent the needed technologies will be taken care. And then once it has been modeled, you have to focus with respect to visualization. To visualization, the modeling part has to be simulated. When you simulate it or do the virtual prototype, you can visualize how the product looks like. So that part which has been manufactured virtually or the prototype will be then related to the virtual environment with respect to the technologies which has to be embedded into it. So once that is done, the verification and the validation will be done in the simulation environment. So once the simulation part is done, the decision control process will help in providing you an optimized result of the virtual prototype or the virtual product or which has been tested properly, accurately and precisely. So these are the tools which are being used in virtual manufacturing in common, irrespective of which type of product you are going to manufacture. Okay, so these are the methods what we follow, and then coming for the tools. So related to the method